You know what's funny? People celebrate you when you're winning, but the moment you fall, they vanish. The same ones who smiled at you, who cheered for you, suddenly act like they never knew your name. They whisper, they mock, they tell each other you were overrated, that your time is done. And that's exactly when you should smile, because being counted out is the greatest advantage you'll ever have. When no one believes in you, you finally get to work without noise. You finally get to build without distraction. Being underestimated is not an insult, it's fuel, it's freedom. Because when people think you're finished, they stop watching, and that's when you become dangerous. That's when you start your comeback. You see, the world loves to doubt you. It loves to put labels on your failure, to define you by your lowest moments. But here's the truth, the ones who underestimate you are blind to your hunger. They can't see what's coming. They think your silence means defeat, but silence is the sound of construction. When they think you're done, that's when you start building the version of yourself that will make them regret ever doubting you. You don't need to convince anyone that you're capable. You don't need to argue or explain. Let them talk. Let them laugh. Because when they do, they're giving you the only thing you need, motivation. Every time someone says you can't, it's an invitation to prove that you can. When you're at the bottom, when everyone's turned their back on you, you learn what power really is. You learn to move without applause. You learn to push without approval. That's where true strength is born. Because when you've got nothing left to lose, that's when you become unstoppable. The world doesn't understand that being underestimated gives you clarity. You're not chasing validation anymore. You're not performing for an audience. You're focused, you're sharp, and you're dangerous. The man who's been broken and left behind is the man who has nothing but purpose. And that's a man you can't compete with. When people count you out, they're unknowingly helping you. They're lighting the fire inside you. Because revenge isn't about shouting, it's about showing. It's about taking every ounce of humiliation, every ounce of rejection, and turning it into fuel for your comeback. They think they've buried you, but they don't realize you're a seed. You grow in silence, you grow in darkness, and one day you rise, not to prove them wrong, but to prove yourself right. That's what being counted out does. It strips away your ego and reveals your essence. It reminds you who you are, what you're made of, and how far you're willing to go to rise again. You have to embrace being doubted. You have to learn to love it. Because when no one expects anything from you, there's no pressure, no noise, no expectations, just pure focus. You start training harder. You start planning smarter. You start moving with precision. Every day you wake up knowing that nobody's rooting for you, but that's fine because you're rooting for yourself. And when you finally win, when you finally rise back to the top, the silence that follows will be your victory song. Because nothing's louder than the success of the man who was once counted out. The moment they say you can't, understand that they're giving you permission to become unstoppable. Let them laugh, let them doubt, let them sleep on you. Because when you come back, and you will, it won't be with words. It'll be with results. The world needs men who can take disrespect and turn it into drive. Men who don't crumble under criticism but sharpen because of it. That's the power of being counted out. You're not behind, you're just getting started. You're not forgotten, you're being forged. You're not weak, you're waiting for your moment to strike. And when that moment comes, every person who doubted you will have no choice but to remember your name. Pain is the most powerful motivator in the world. It's raw, it's real, and it doesn't lie. When you're broken, when everything you built is gone, when you wake up and feel that sting of loss in your chest, that's when you truly meet yourself. Pain strips you down to the truth. It removes the fake smiles, the excuses, the distractions. It forces you to see who you really are when no one's watching. Most people run from pain. They numb it, hide it, or blame others for it. But men who rise, they use it. They let it sharpen them. Because pain is not the enemy. Pain is the forge that builds the man strong enough to make the comeback. When you've been betrayed, when you've failed, when you've hit the bottom, don't wish it away. Let it hurt. Let it burn. Let it wake you up. Because that ache inside you, that frustration, that fire in your gut, that's energy. That's potential. That's your signal to move. Pain is a message from life saying, you're not done yet. It's life's way of testing whether you really want it. And if you can take that pain and channel it, if you can turn heartbreak into hustle, rejection into obsession, loss into purpose, you become untouchable. Because once you've used your pain as fuel, nothing can stop you anymore. The same thing that tried to destroy you becomes the reason you rise. You see, people talk about success like it's built from happiness, from comfort, from calm. It's not. It's built from scars. It's built from sleepless nights, silent battles, and endless discipline. Pain is the only teacher that tells the truth. It tells you where you're weak. It exposes your limits, and then it dares you to overcome them. That's the beauty of pain. It's brutally honest. It doesn't care about your excuses. It doesn't care about your feelings. It looks you in the eye and says, you want to win? Prove it. That's why I say pain is sacred, because it doesn't lie. It doesn't flatter you. It refines you. The world will tell you to move on from your pain, but don't rush that process. Sit in it, learn from it, because within that pain lies all the lessons you've been avoiding. Every failure teaches you how to adapt. Every betrayal teaches you who to trust. Every loss teaches you what truly matters. You don't grow when you're comfortable. You grow when it hurts. That's where your character is built. That's where your will is forged. Pain isn't something to escape. It's something to earn. And when you can look pain in the eye and say, do your worst, that's when you become dangerous, because pain has nothing left to take from you. You can't have a comeback without a breakdown. You can't rise if you've never fallen. The pain you're feeling right now, that's the price of transformation. You can't become powerful without paying that price. So stop asking for easy days. Stop wishing for comfort. Comfort makes you soft. Pain makes you sharp. Every time you feel that pain, remember that it's sculpting you into something greater. It's chiseling away your weakness, your fear, your hesitation. Pain isn't there to punish you. It's there to prepare you for the moment when your comeback begins. When you start to understand pain, you stop resenting it. You start respecting it. You start realizing that every great man, every legend, every champion was born through suffering. You can't build a diamond without pressure, and you can't build a man without pain. That's the law of life. You either let pain define you, or you let it refine you. When you start viewing pain as a weapon, as a gift, it stops breaking you and starts building you. Every time life hits you, it's just giving you another chance to get stronger, wiser, and more relentless. So the next time you're hurting, don't say, why me? Say, thank you. Thank the pain for showing you your strength. Thank it for forcing you to grow. Because one day, you'll look back and realize that every painful moment, every silent battle, every tear, it wasn't breaking you, it was building your comeback. Pain is your greatest ally, because nothing pushes you harder, nothing wakes you up faster, and nothing reminds you of your purpose like pain does. Discipline. That's the real difference between the man who talks about a comeback and the man who lives it. Motivation fades, emotion fades, excitement dies, but discipline stays. Discipline doesn't care if you're tired, if you're angry, if you feel like quitting. It's not about how you feel, it's about what you do. Everyone wants the comeback story. Everyone wants the revenge. Everyone wants the glory. But very few are willing to do what it takes every single day when no one's clapping, when no one's cheering, when no one even notices. That's the test. That's where men are separated from boys, because a comeback isn't built on inspiration, it's built on repetition. You want to know what makes a man unstoppable? It's not his talent, it's not his luck, it's not his potential. It's his consistency. It's showing up when nothing seems to be working. It's putting in the work when the results are invisible. Discipline is doing what's required long after the excitement is gone. It's the ability to do what others won't for as long as it takes until you get what they can't. Discipline is self-respect. It's saying, I promised myself I'd do this, so I will, no matter what. Because when you build that level of trust with yourself, you become untouchable. The man who can control himself, who can command his actions regardless of emotion, is the most dangerous man alive. The truth is, discipline feels like punishment in the beginning. It feels lonely, boring, repetitive. But that's the price of mastery. Everyone wants quick results, instant validation, overnight success. But the real game is built on delayed gratification. Every day you choose discipline, you're planting a seed for your comeback. It doesn't look like much at first. No applause, no recognition, no visible progress. But over time, those small daily decisions compound into something unstoppable. Discipline is like gravity. It quietly pulls success toward you. Every rep, every sacrifice, every early morning, every late night, they all add up. The comeback is just the result of thousands of disciplined days strung together. You've got to fall in love with the grind. You've got to find pride in your process. Because discipline is not punishment, it's power. It's freedom. Discipline means you're in control of your future. It means your emotions no longer dictate your actions. It means you're not at the mercy of laziness or fear or doubt. Discipline builds confidence because it reminds you that you can trust yourself. You start realizing, I don't need to feel good to perform well. I don't need motivation to execute. That's when the comeback becomes inevitable, because no one can stop a man who keeps moving forward no matter what he feels. The most dangerous man is the one who gets up every day and does the same hard thing without complaining. He's not chasing dopamine. He's not chasing validation. He's chasing excellence. And while the rest of the world burns itself out chasing instant results, he's quietly stacking wins. That's how comebacks are built. In silence, through structure, through sacrifice. You can't be disciplined and average. Discipline transforms you. It builds mental armor. It makes you harder to break, harder to distract, harder to defeat. When you have discipline, you stop negotiating with weakness. You stop waiting for the right time. You simply execute. You've got to understand that every great comeback is born in discipline's shadow. When everyone else gives up, the disciplined man keeps going. When life hits hard, he doesn't fold, he adjusts. Because discipline teaches you emotional control, the ability to act logically when everything around you is chaos. And that's rare. That's why disciplined men win. The comeback doesn't belong to the loud, the emotional, or the impulsive. It belongs to the consistent. The one who keeps his head down, stays focused, and never breaks his routine. You might not see results today, or tomorrow, or next week, but discipline doesn't care about timelines. It only cares about progress. Every time you do what needs to be done despite how you feel, you're building momentum. And that momentum becomes unstoppable. So when the world laughs, when people doubt you, when you're tired of waiting, keep going. Stay disciplined. Because one day your results will speak so loudly that the same people who ignored you will ask how you did it. And you won't even need to answer. Your comeback will do the talking. Success is not built in front of an audience. It's built in the dark, in silence, when no one's watching. That's where the real work happens. The comeback isn't born on the stage. It's created behind closed doors when it's just you, your thoughts, and your willpower. Everyone wants to be seen succeeding, but very few are willing to disappear for a while to build something real. You've got to understand obscurity is not your enemy. It's your training ground. The time you spend alone, grinding when nobody knows your name, that's where greatness is crafted. Because when you're in the dark, you're free from judgment, from comparison, from distraction. It's just you and the process. And that's where true transformation begins. The world sees the finished product, but it never sees the lonely nights, the sacrifices, the doubts you battle in silence, the quiet hours you spend improving, studying, working, perfecting your craft. That's the real story behind every comeback. When everyone's out having fun, wasting time, chasing temporary pleasure, you're in the shadows creating something permanent. And it's in those moments that you become dangerous. Because no one knows what you're building. They think you've disappeared. They think you've given up. But you're just underground, sharpening your edge, stacking your wins, preparing your strike. The silence is not weakness. It's strategy. You have to learn to love being unseen, because that's where your comeback matures. That's where you start realizing that validation doesn't matter. Applause doesn't matter. Recognition doesn't matter. Progress does. Every hour of solitude is building something inside you that the crowd can't see. It's building resilience, discipline, and power. You learn to be self-driven. You stop performing for others and start performing for your purpose. That's the difference between men who rise and men who fade. The ones who can work in silence are the ones who shock the world later. When you're in that phase, when no one believes in you, when no one's watching, don't rush it. Don't crave attention. Don't beg for acknowledgement, because this is your secret season. The more you focus on proving them wrong too early, the more you delay your progress. The greatest revenge is patience. Build quietly, improve silently, and let your results do the talking later. Every comeback has a quiet chapter, a chapter where nothing seems to happen, but that's where everything's happening. You're laying foundations, you're mastering skills, you're creating mental toughness. The dark season isn't punishment, it's preparation. And the best part, silence keeps you unpredictable. When they can't see your moves, they can't stop them. That's the power of privacy. You're not obligated to show anyone your process. Let them assume, let them underestimate, because while they're gossiping, you're growing. While they're scrolling, you're studying. While they're talking, you're transforming. Then one day you appear, unrecognizable, unstoppable, undeniable. That's the power of the quiet grind. The same people who once ignored you will act like they always believed in you. And that's when you'll realize that silence was your greatest weapon. You've got to fall in love with isolation, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. Every man who's ever made a comeback had a season where he vanished. The world thought he was finished, but he was just reloading. You can't evolve in the spotlight, you evolve in the shadows. The noise of the world distracts, but the silence of solitude sharpens. Every morning you wake up alone and choose to keep going, you're winning. Every time you sacrifice comfort for consistency, you're building power. And one day that silence will explode into success so loud it'll echo through every room that once doubted you. Silence gives you something no applause ever will: focus. You stop trying to impress others and start impressing yourself. You start competing only with the man you were yesterday. That's when you become lethal, because you're no longer driven by opinions, you're driven by vision. You don't need the world to see your grind. The world will see your results. The dark is not your enemy, it's your incubator. So stay low, stay patient, stay working. Your comeback doesn't need noise, it needs time. And when the time is right, the same silence that once hid you will amplify your success so loud that no one will ever doubt your name again. Revenge is not about anger. It's not about screaming at the people who doubted you or proving your worth through words. Real revenge is success. Cold, calculated, undeniable success. The kind that speaks for itself, the kind that silences every critic without you saying a single thing. You see, they expect you to react emotionally. They expect you to break, to fight back with words, to spiral out of control, but that's what weak men do. Strong men don't waste energy on proving people wrong with noise. They prove them wrong by building something they can't ignore. The most powerful response to betrayal, failure, or mockery is elevation. You rise so high that their hate can't reach you anymore. When they laugh, when they doubt, when they whisper behind your back, let them. Because every ounce of negativity they throw at you is free fuel. Every insult, every rejection, every sneer, store it. Turn it into energy. Let it drive you. You don't need to announce your plans, you need to execute them. The best revenge stories are written in silence and revealed in success. When you start moving like that, calm, patient, focused, you become unstoppable. You stop trying to destroy your enemies with words and start destroying them with achievements. Nothing hurts a hater more than having to watch you win while they remain stuck exactly where they've always been. The beautiful thing about success is that it makes explanations unnecessary. You don't need to justify your journey once your results start speaking. When you're focused on your comeback, your only mission is progress. You don't have to tell anyone what you're doing. They'll see it when it's done. You don't have to post every move. The final outcome will make them look twice. Silence and consistency are a deadly combination. You keep building while they keep talking. You keep improving while they keep assuming. Then, when your moment arrives, their words vanish. Because there's nothing left to say when the man they counted out becomes the man they can't stop talking about. Real revenge is control. It's self-mastery. It's being so focused on your growth that their opinions don't even register anymore. Because you realize that the moment you start chasing validation, you lose power. But when you start chasing excellence, you take it all back. Every insult that once hurt you becomes proof that you're evolving. Every failure that once embarrassed you becomes the foundation of your success. Revenge through success is poetic because it doesn't require confrontation. It requires transformation. You don't beat them by fighting them, you beat them by outgrowing them. You've got to understand that your enemies are part of the process. Without them, you wouldn't have that fire. You wouldn't have that extra push when you feel like quitting. You need the doubters, you need the naysayers, you need the critics, because they remind you why you started. Every comeback has villains, but instead of hating them, thank them, because their doubt gave you direction. Their disrespect gave you discipline. Their disbelief gave you drive. The reason success feels so sweet is because you remember every moment you were told you couldn't have it. You remember the silence, the humiliation, the pain, and now you turn all of it into power. When you start letting success be your revenge, you move differently. You stop reacting. You stop explaining. You stop wasting your energy on proving points, because your results will always speak louder than your emotions. That's how you win, by staying calm, by staying strategic, by staying patient. The real kings don't shout, they build empires. And when the time comes, the same people who once laughed at you will line up to shake your hand. They'll call it luck. They'll pretend they supported you. But deep down, they'll know the truth. You turn their doubt into dominance. The greatest revenge isn't destroying them. It's becoming so great they can't ignore you. You evolve past their reach. You become the man they said you could never be. That's what success does. It rewrites your story without you having to say a word. The same people who used to mock your failures will one day study your methods. The same ones who turn their backs will wish they never did. And when that day comes, you won't even care. Because revenge is only sweet when you no longer crave it. Success will make you forget every insult, every wound, every betrayal. Because once you rise, you'll realize they weren't your enemies, they were your motivation. The comeback isn't the end of the story, it's the beginning of a new version of you. Once you rise, once you've built yourself back from the ground up, you can never go back to being the same person again. You've seen too much, you've endured too much, you've learned what pain feels like, what isolation feels like, what discipline feels like, and that changes you forever. You become sharper, colder, wiser. The man who comes back stronger is never the man who fell. He's evolved. He's unrecognizable. Because once you've built yourself out of ashes, you stop fearing the fire. You understand that even if everything crumbles again, you know how to rebuild. That's the real power of the comeback. It gives you peace through strength. When you've been broken, betrayed, doubted, and still found a way to rise, there's nothing left to fear. You stop worrying about losing because you already know what it's like to lose. You've tasted rock bottom and it didn't kill you, it forged you. The pain that once scared you now empowers you. You stop chasing approval, you stop craving validation, because you know that nobody saved you when you were down, you saved yourself. That's when real confidence begins, when you stop needing others to believe in you, because you've seen what you can survive without them. You've learned that you don't need motivation, you don't need support, you don't even need understanding. All you need is hunger and direction. The comeback isn't just about success, it's about transformation. It's not about getting back what you lost, it's about becoming something greater than you ever imagined. Because when you rise from failure, you don't rebuild what was broken, you rebuild stronger. Every scar becomes armor. Every mistake becomes wisdom. Every loss becomes leverage. The same man who once doubted himself now walks with certainty. The same man who once hesitated now moves with conviction. You become efficient, focused, unshakable. The world can't break you anymore because you've already been through worse and survived. When you rise again, you stop taking things personally. You stop reacting to every challenge because you understand that life isn't supposed to be easy, it's supposed to test you. You stop chasing comfort and start chasing growth. You start welcoming obstacles because you know they'll only make you sharper. The comeback gives you a new mindset, a mindset that sees pressure as opportunity, not punishment. That's when you become unstoppable, because nothing rattles a man who's already rebuilt himself from scratch. Nothing scares him anymore because he knows he's already faced the worst version of life and turned it into his best version of self. You also learn humility in your comeback. You remember what it's like to have nothing, to be overlooked, to be ignored. And that keeps you grounded. You no longer need to prove yourself. Your results speak for you. You no longer crave revenge. Your success already delivered it. You no longer need applause. You clap for yourself. The man who's come back stronger doesn't move out of ego anymore. He moves with purpose. He's not driven by external validation. He's driven by internal peace. That's the level of growth your comeback gives you. You stop competing with others because you realize your only competition is the man you were yesterday. And the best part about the comeback, it doesn't just change your life, it changes your energy. People feel it when you walk into a room. They see it in the way you carry yourself, the way you speak, the way you move. You don't even need to say a word, your presence tells the story. Because the comeback gives you something money, fame, or status never can: self-respect. You've earned it. You've fought for it. You've built it with your own two hands. That's why no one can take it from you. You've gone from being broken to being bulletproof. The comeback makes you realize that you never needed revenge, you never needed validation, you never needed luck. All you needed was time, pain, and discipline. And now you have something far greater than success. You have control. You control your emotions, your focus, your path. You understand that failure isn't fatal, it's foundational. That pain isn't punishment, it's preparation. That doubt isn't a setback, it's a signal that you're about to level up. Once you've made your comeback, you stop chasing results and start chasing mastery. Because now it's not about proving them wrong, it's about proving yourself right every single day through your actions, through your mindset, through your unstoppable will to rise again and again, no matter how many times life tries to break you. Every man will fall. Every man will face betrayal, pain, and moments that crush his spirit. But the difference between those who stay down and those who rise again is mindset. The comeback is never about luck, it's about hunger. It's about deciding that your story isn't over just because life hit you hard. Every scar you've earned, every tear you've shed, every night you spent alone, it all meant something. It was building you. It was preparing you for the version of yourself that doesn't break anymore. Because once you've been broken and rebuilt yourself, you become untouchable. You stop chasing approval. You stop needing revenge. You stop explaining your purpose. You just move with quiet power. Success is the loudest revenge. Let it speak for you. Let your results silence every doubt and every insult. The same people who once turned their backs will be forced to face the truth that the man they counted out became the man they could never compete with. But by then, you won't even care. Because the comeback changes everything. It rewires your spirit. It reminds you that no one can stop a man who refuses to quit. You'll realize that every loss, every failure, every painful moment was a gift because it taught you how to fight, how to build, and how to believe in yourself when no one else did. So rise, not to prove them wrong, but to prove to yourself that you were never finished. Rise because your story deserves a stronger ending. Rise because pain was never meant to destroy you, it was meant to awaken you. Let success be your revenge, let discipline be your weapon, and let your comeback be the proof that no matter how many times you fall, you will always stand taller than before.